From the iShin Broadcast Studio, it's the Tool Time Podcast.
Hello and welcome to an all-new episode of the Tool Time Podcast. I'm Nadine Batat and I'm the editor of Tech Shop.
And I'm Eric Garba, ASE Certified Master Automobile Technician.
Eric, what's up?
Nadine, how you doing?
Good. Welcome back to the studio. Today we've got a very exciting guest. I know you love this topic. We're talking to Tony Gumina of Milwaukee Tool, and we're going to be talking all about those cordless and pneumatic tools.
You know it. You know I love that subject.
Absolutely. So we have a lot to discuss, so let's just dive right in. Is that okay?
That's okay.
Let's do it, Eric.
Let's do it.
Tony, thank you so much again for joining us today. We're just going to go ahead and dive right in. Can you give us a history on Milwaukee Tools to start?
Yeah, absolutely. So believe it or not, Milwaukee Tool is in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We actually were started in about 1924, and the first solutions that we actually brought to market was the hole shooter for production lines during the industrial boom. And that's really what set us up for the success we've seen today. And then fast forward a little bit into the 50s, 60s, 70s, when we saw a huge boom in residential construction. The organization saw a huge opportunity for growth and, quite frankly, the ability to challenge the market to introduce another revolutionary product, which we all know and love, the Sawzall, the reciprocating saw, which really propelled us into not just having a production line solution, but more solutions to come for many different trades. What we really started in terms of the focus on end users was more of those MEP trades, your mechanical user, the electrician, the plumber. And we've really were ingrained with how they work, what they utilize to come up with a plethora of solutions to enhance productivity, to enhance safety on the job site. And as you continue to fast forward into about 2008, Tectronic Industries, TTI, actually acquired Milwaukee. And we actually had our leadership team today were put at the helm then, and also is what really started that revolution for us to invest heavily in cordless solutions. And to be pretty transparent, I'd say that 2008 time frame is really that turning point for Milwaukee Tool, and it's that lithium-ion patent during that time frame. Ultimately helped us launch the M12, M18 line, and then even a couple of years ago, our MX fuel line as well too. And then the last piece here in terms of kind of another historic milestone, 13 years ago, right, about 2012 is when we introduced the M12 or M18 fuel systems, or I guess our fuel line, right, allowing us to challenge that status quo and really provide users with solutions that could compete with corded and pneumatic solutions, no matter what type of product it was.
Very cool.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Rich history.
Great history. Yeah, you
Absolutely.
know I love history. And what's even cooler, it's great that Tony brought up the construction trades and the Sawzall, because I mean, who doesn't love this? And I've got an old Milwaukee. I mean, it might be one of the originals, not really, but it still works. And I mean, I tear stuff up with that. I mean, it's you love it when you do that kind of thing.
Very cool.
It's a great tool. So Tony, along the lines of the construction trades, many people, they think of Milwaukee. When they think of Milwaukee, they think of the construction trades. But what have you been doing lately to increase your presence in the automotive space?
Yeah, it's something that we actually get a lot when we go to shows or we work with users. A lot of times those individuals say, well, I thought you guys just made stuff for the contractor, the residential construction entity, right? If you look back over the past couple of years, and I'd say I had to put a point in time, it'd probably be around 2016, is when we really started to see engagement from the automotive channel or the user group, right? The mechanic, the diesel tech, paint and body detailer, all of the above there, right? We saw that some of the tools that we were designing for MEP or those types of users, right? Your hacksaw, your sawzall, even some ratchets, impact wrenches, were falling into the hands of those who were wrenching in the shop. We saw that was a huge opportunity for us to capitalize on, not just with some of the tools that we're designing for those typical MEP trades, but also to discover what else could they utilize on a daily basis, whether it was on the M12 platform, the M18 platform, a hand tool, an accessory. And again, it's something that we don't just do with the automotive industry. We look at other industries as well to understand where do our existing products fall today, and then what else can we do to better help service those types of users. And I think one of the biggest things here, and I'd say, like, I don't want to say the shorter putt, but when we identified the opportunity for us to penetrate that automotive industry, or how we say transportation maintenance, was, hey, it would be awesome for us to have a solutions that were powerful, had enough runtime, and were fast enough, so I don't have to drag my tool around that's attached to a hose and that's on a compressor as well. So that was a big thing right there. I'd say that was probably one of the bigger catalysts that sparked our investment. Was, hey, like we see a giant frustration with this user group, and just solely due to the fact that a lot of their tools that they're utilizing today are confined to the hose and the compressor in the shop.
That's awesome, Tony. And it segues right into our next question. Obviously, cordless tools are extremely popular for technicians right now. So can you tell us about Milwaukee's battery-operated solutions and some of the features that auto technicians can really benefit from?
Yeah, I guess if you look at more of the macro story, right, going back to that pneumatic to cordless shift, if we were to look back at the industry 10, 15 years ago, you're going to see 90% of technicians probably still utilizing pneumatic tools, whether it's an impact, a die grinder, some type of saw, right? Fast forward to today, in some product categories, depends on the size impact wrench, depends on the type of grinder, whatever it may be. We flipped that proportion upside down, right? We've seen a massive adoption of cordless. And what's really cool is that Milwaukee's been a part of that story. We drive productivity, we drive safety. We want to make sure that the mechanic has a tool that is going to work for them in an efficient manner, but also like without breaking system compatibility. So if they need an M12 fuel ratchet to work under the hood, they can pop that M12 battery in there and complete the job. And if they need to use an M12 die grinder, they can use that same battery and go put it in a different tool, right? Having a seamless workflow is kind of how we like to phrase it. But in terms of some product specifics as well, right? We invest heavily in enhancing the application. And what I mean by that is understanding what these technicians are doing on a daily basis and their process. If you're installing a lug nut, there is a process behind that, and how does our tool fit into that process? There are solutions that we have today, I guess in particular impact wrenches, that have a lug nut mode. So when you go to snug up those lug nuts, you're not risking over torquing or substantially under torquing. So when that tire technician or whoever it is comes back to apply that final torque, they're not sitting there with a click wrench for 5, 6, 7 turns. It's maybe a quarter or half of a turn, and they can keep going throughout that tire and move on to the next one in an efficient manner. So there's a lot more things to come, whether it's a different mode, a feature, or even just new products that are really going to help this industry as a whole be more productive, be more safe, work more efficiently when these hit the market.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is really great to know. It sounds like they're really thinking about these tools and concentrating on the technician and what benefits we can utilize every day
Super
in, day
important.
out. That is awesome. Tony, you talked about impact wrenches. You were just on that topic, and there's always such a hot topic with technicians. Can you think of any new products, anything specific that you may have that they would want to learn about?
Yeah. There's a couple that come to mind. I'd say one that has been what we would say is like a hero product over the past couple of years, and what I think was a critical solution in helping that pneumatic to cordless transition is our 1/2-inch high torque impact wrench. We just launched, I don't want to say just launched, but our third generation of our 1/2-inch fuel high torque impact wrench launched towards the back half of 2023. And that was, I was fortunate enough to be the lead on that project. It was a fun experience. When we conduct research, right, it's not us just purchasing marketing reports. It's us getting boots on the ground, understanding pain points, frustrations, market trends to help craft that design intent for that project. And not only that, that was a tool in particular that we or invested heavily on the technology side. We developed a whole new motor, a new electronics package, and had a full team dedicated to design a new mechanism for that tool in particular. And ultimately what it provided the users was a more powerful tool in a smaller, more compact size. Didn't have to add any weight to it, right? That's a big thing especially if you're going to be using these tools, 6, 8, 10 hours at a time. But more importantly, we were able to make the tool faster. We were able to make it a heck of a lot more durable as well too. So, and all of that was rooted in the fact that we took the time to work with, I couldn't even tell you, probably at this point in time, thousands of users across the country, ranging not just from Milwaukee, but East Coast, West Coast, Southwest, Southeast, you name it. I've probably been to over 100, 200 shops, been to over 100, 200 job sites, and worked with a lot of different entities from a end user standpoint to help craft this. And it's not just me; it's our whole product management team that follows the suit there.
Presented from the Ishin Broadcast Studio at Babcock's Media.
That's awesome. Cool. Sounds like they've checked all the boxes.
Yes. Now, obviously, these techs, they can't have too many tools. These techs love their tools, and they also love wrenches. Can you go into a little bit about Milwaukee's wrenches and what you guys offer? Yeah.
And the analogy I love to utilize, especially with a mechanic, is they remind me of a golfer, right? A golfer comes to the golf course with a bag of 14 clubs, and they're going to utilize different clubs for different shots. They're going to use their driver when they're teeing off, an iron to hit onto the green, and a putter to putt the ball into the hole, right? They're all golf clubs, but they all serve a different purpose, right? And the same thing goes with, I would just even encompass ratchets in with that, right? Impact wrenches and ratchets play a huge part in a mechanic's day-to-day, whether it's removing a lug nut or a tire, doing timing covers, and interior dash work, brakes, you name it, right? The list goes on and on. And the fortunate part is at Milwaukee, we have the largest breadth of line of cordless impact wrenches, which should be able to suit every mechanic's needs at this point. And if you go, again, reiterate on the research, you'll walk into a lot of shops and you'll see guys with 3 or 4 impact wrenches, right? And I'd say like one of the more recent launches on an impact wrench standpoint is our next generation M12 fuel stubby. So this actually just launched towards the back half of last year as well. And this is, again, you're going to see, and I just saw it this morning on a Facebook post, which is really cool, is I got a guy took a picture of his new M12 stubby and his 1/2-inch high torque and saying, hey, this is my 1-2 punch right here, right? That stubby is it's doing great. I'll be honest. We took a lot of time to develop a tool like that as well, similar to that high torque. What we really did to deliver on the user needs is we've found from that first generation, hey, the size is great. Whether it's weight, length, width, it gets in all these places, but we could use a little more torque, right? And everyone always wants a little more ugga-duggas. And so we actually were able to maintain the same footprint of that tool. Didn't have to add weight, didn't have to add length, width, but we actually more than doubled the performance. So our previous generation was 250 foot-pounds, and we actually took this next generation of 550 foot-pounds. And so what does that ultimately mean to the mechanic? It opens up a wider set of applications that tool can utilize without having to sacrifice going back to the toolbox to grab another type of extension or swivel or whatever it may be, right? We're able to give them a solution that they were very happy with, but also enhanced it as well in terms of productivity, right? Being able to give them a tool in the same form factor, size, with a little more ugga-duggas behind it to make sure that they can, do their job more efficiently and effectively.
That is awesome. More power. I mean, that's the name of the game. That's what we need, right? Doesn't get any better than that, for sure.
Yeah.
So Tony, what types of hand tools does Milwaukee offer that technicians can benefit from?
I know we've been focused on a lot on power tools. I think the awesome part about Milwaukee is we are a full solutions provider, and that doesn't just mean a tool where you pull the trigger on. It's hand tools, accessories, PPE, storage, you name it, right? We looked at this category in particular for the automotive industry back in 2018, and when we took our first step in this direction, we had about 20 SKUs. If you look back at to where we ended last year in terms of the automotive specific hand tool solutions, we had about 530 of them. So we understand the importance of the breadth of line within hand tools. And we know that mechanics are very particular about their hand tools. And I would say probably a little more particular about their hand tools than they are power tools in some instances. But I'd say a big one for us is our chrome line. It's the little things like having flat sides on a socket that allowed us to solve a frustration for a mechanic was to prevent sockets from rolling off of the work surface or around the shop, right? And we're looking to expand that not only just with those types of sockets, but different types of bits, different types of ratchets as well too. Again, it's a never-ending journey for us, especially within the hand tool side. We know there's a lot out there. We're excited to keep moving along with more solutions specifically designed for the mechanic in the automotive industry.
That is awesome. Some great solutions, and great thinking that goes behind it. We've got a set of those sockets out there, and they're awesome. I mean, you don't think about how much time you lose when your socket rolls away.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's just huge for productivity. It's awesome.
I know for your needs, Eric, that'll really add some more time to your day. Now, Tony, can you tell us about the R&D process at Milwaukee and the innovation behind your tools?
Yeah, I alluded to it a little bit before, right? It's we are boots on the ground, working with users hand in hand, trying to solve frustrations and understand where some of the inefficiencies lie. And we always like to say it starts and ends with our users, right? No matter what trade they're in, whether they're MEP, whether they're in the automotive or transportation maintenance segment, we are truly dedicated to understanding what they do when they wake up in the morning to when they go to bed, right? It's solutions from a power tool to a storage solution like Packout, to chrome, to caulk guns, grease guns, you name it, right? We try to understand every single facet of their day, and especially their line of work, to make sure that the solutions that we are providing are not just something that they can see on a shelf, but it's something that is going to provide value to them, put more money in their pockets, make them, again, and I feel like I've said it 20 times at this point, but it rings true for us, and we ground ourselves in it, is driving productivity, driving safety, driving efficiency, no matter if you're on the job site or in the shop.
It's fantastic.
That's awesome. And Tony, you talk about solutions and a technician's day. More and more technicians you're going to work, but you're also spending time in the evening on projects, whether you're working on a car or restoration or just home projects. What solutions does Milwaukee offer that a technician can benefit from, and utilizing tools during the day at work, yet maybe taking something home to use at home?
I mentioned it a little bit before, but our Packout system, to me, it's one of the, I don't want to say it's one of the simpler things that, it's like, wow, how come no one ever thought of this earlier, right? But it's a revolution, right? Guys are not only just within the automotive industry, but across every single trade vertical we call on. Packout has been a huge success. And Packout is for those who don't know, it's a modular storage system. It has unmatched versatility. It has, some awesome customization, and it's the leader in the industry in terms of portable job site solutions. When you look at where Packout started to where we are now, not only is it just storage to move your tools and whatever it may be on a job site and throughout the shop, or from the house to the shop, we've expanded into other different categories, not just from hard storage, but to soft storage. We've also looked at, looking at drinkware, right? We have Packout tumblers that, obviously everyone's going to want their water bottle on the job, right? I find it hard to believe someone's not going to want a swig of water if they're working hard all day. You can now buy a Packout tumbler and actually lock it into your Packout system so it doesn't go flying everywhere. The Packout system is it's like M12, it's like M18, but on the storage side, right? There's endless opportunities for us, and we're excited to see where it takes us, and specifically within the automotive industry. And to your point earlier, right? That's the most, in my opinion, the most efficient way. If you're going to be wrenching at home and you want to pack your tools up in an organized fashion and bring it to the shop on Monday to continue to work, Packout is the best solution to do that as well.
That is awesome. What a cool system.
This was all very, very helpful, Tony. I mean, it's fantastic to hear everything that Milwaukee is doing for the automotive industry, and clearly you guys are just going to continue growing in this industry. So keep doing what you're doing and working so closely with the technicians. I think that's such a huge thing and company success right now in the industry.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate the time, guys, and I'm sure my sentiment hasn't rang through at this point. Like we're dedicated to the automotive industry. We're always looking to innovate, and we're excited to show you guys every single year what we're coming out with specifically for the mechanic, for the technician, to help them be more effective in the shop.
That is awesome. As a technician, we definitely appreciate that dedication, Tony.
Yes. Thanks again, Tony.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
What'd I tell you, Eric? I knew it would be a conversation that you'd like, right?
That was an awesome conversation.
I think Tony did a great job of just reinforcing what Milwaukee is about. That feedback from the technician. He kept repeating it: driving productivity, safety, efficiency, all these things. We know that stuff matters to the technician. So I think everything that we heard today and everything that Milwaukee is doing is very, very promising for the industry. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I love their dedication to it and their focus on the technician, the hand tools, the cordless tools, everything that we depend on every day. It's just absolutely awesome.
Eric, as always, thank you again for joining me in the studio, and thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you again next time.